Tradition teaches that while this is the most sacred service of the year, it is to be interrupted for the sake of Tzarchei Tzibur, for the needs of the community. We have heard stirring words from Mayor Garcetti about the community's obligation to its homeless, particularly its homeless veterans. And now we'll take a moment and ask Nancy Sher Cohen, who's president of the VBS community, to share her reflections on the needs of this community in the coming year.
It's so nice to be with you as your president for the second time at the High Holidays. Shana Tova. Shana Tova. It's always a joyous time to see so many friends gathered together at our VBS community, both new and longtime members. Yet each year, at this time in particular, many of us feel the absence of those family and friends who are no longer with us. This year is our first Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur without our beloved spiritual leader, Rabbi Schulweis of blessed memory. No president of Valley Beth Shalom can responsibly lead this synagogue without understanding and building upon the history of this great congregation. Since the loss of our great spiritual leader, Rabbi Schulweis, not a day goes by without my thinking of what he might say or do, or how he might handle this situation or another. While our synagogue remains strong, a leader among American congregations, and always forward-thinking, I know I speak for all of us when I say that the loss of Rabbi Schulweis remains so very palpable among us. But we are lucky to still have such strong rabbinic leadership here at Valley Beth Shalom. I hearken back to Rabbi Hartson's comment upon the installation of Rabbi Feinstein as our head rabbi. No other synagogue, he said, can say they have gone from one remarkable and brilliant leader to another. That's what we've done here. Rabbi Feinstein led us through this difficult Shloshim period with grace and great learning, and we continue to carry on Rabbi Schulweis's vision and traditions under Rabbi Feinstein's wise leadership. Now, there is a history here, passed down through the generations. My history of Valley Beth Shalom comes from Al Leipson. Al was a former president of the congregation when I met him, and he was at the time the leader of the building campaign and its largest contributor. Now, he would corner me at some event, the Man or Woman of the Year event, a day school event, or even at services, and he would complain to me about the young people, the folks who didn't attend every event and give generously to every campaign. I would remind him I was one of those young people, and Bob and I were here, but he would then change the subject and tell me that if I was going to be a leader here at Valley Beth Shalom, I needed to understand the sacrifices that came before me. So I listened to him. He told me wonderful stories of our first home on Sepulveda Boulevard, the purchase of a motel on this site, and naturally, how the founders and the leaders of this synagogue, Frank Weiner, Ray Sandler, Sam Feldman, among others, along with Rabbi Schulweis, of course, drove the growth of this congregation. From our humble beginnings, we have grown a leading conservative synagogue. We have a stable membership of 1,500 families or more for many years now, including through the deep recession starting in 2008. We have many families who have been members for over 40 years, and we have 86 members over 88 years of age. But we're not an old membership. No, with Next Gen, led by Rabbi Farkas, the number of our youngest members has increased, including so many young families with children in our schools. Our average age is actually declining. We continue to have a thriving day school of some 260 children, a nursery school now called the Early Childhood Center with more than 300 children, including our toddler program, and a Hebrew school with 250 students. I don't think that the synagogue has ever had a closer partnership with our day school. Our executive director, Bart Pacino, has developed a new unified marketing and communications department for the synagogue, and it's headed by the talented Alana Vorspan. Together with the day school, we are coordinating and working closely. We now work jointly on many projects, including those in education, community development, and spiritual growth. I'm proud to say that the day school continues to thrive and produce the future leaders of our synagogue, including so many of our congregation's presidents. I am proud to say I was a day school parent, as were many of the past presidents, including Buzzy Bookman, Andy Hyman, Jeff Levine, Richard Burstein, and others, and including our next president, Scott Howard, and our executive director, Bart Pacino. We greatly appreciate the wonderful work of the day school with its past president, Larry Weisenberg, and the current president, Rachel Lippman, and the school's board, which increasingly participates in synagogue functions. VBS does a lot. We have a community food bank, a branch of the SOVA network. We offer help to local families. We have a strong and nurturing counseling center. Our College of Jewish Studies is very vibrant, many programs. And we continue to grow and reach out. This year we introduced Shabbat with Friends, where new families joined established families of the synagogue to learn about the synagogue and celebrate Shabbat. We have much to celebrate this year. Whoa. Sorry. We have much to celebrate this year, such as a new website, the result of over a year of work led by Bill Green and Eric Weiser, among others. The first-time Lador Vador Progressive Dinner, a reinvigorated youth department led by the remarkable Ami Monson, and the exciting newly inspired sisterhood led by Alyssa Taub, which was recently recognized as a model for sisterhood by the Jewish Journal just a few weeks ago. Brotherhood, led by Jason Stern, continues to thrive. VBS continues to meet the challenges of a changing Jewish community, creating new programs and reinvigorating long-established institutions. Now, have you tried the new comfortable seats in the Sher Chapel? Well, this is clearly one of leadership's most appreciated achievements this year. Those of you here tonight in rows P1, P2 of the sanctuary are sitting in them. Please offer them up to your friends. I think you will attest they're more comfortable than the seats we had in Sher before. Dr. Ryan Ryder has been appointed our very first Gabbai Rishon. In this position, he will work with our Vice President of Religion, Dr. David Braun, and our rabbis and cantors to make our worshiping services inspiring. Now, our founders, Al Leipson Ray, Frank Weiner, and of course Rabbi Schulweis, left us a remarkable legacy. We have done our very best to carry forth their aspirations and hopes. That's why I talk about history. Those leaders laid out principles of our community and our guideposts for what it means to be a synagogue of learning, of relationship, and of godliness. And we have learned from them, and we reach to meet their ideals. Now, when I met Al, as I said, he was well into the building campaign that ultimately built the synagogue we have today. The new school wing, the Sher Chapel, the Bernstein Balcony Seminar Room, the Levine Librarium, the Rabbinic Wing, the Averbach Sukkot, the Leipson Synagogue Center, and the Cinder and Resnick parking lots, among other things that they accomplished. Now, Al and I didn't talk much about the campaign. Honestly, he didn't need to say much to me, as I could clearly see what he and Jack Cinder, who acted with Al as project manager, envisioned. Al and Jack were at the synagogue every day as I walked our son, Aaron, to school at VBS, worrying over every small detail of the building. And of course, there was that little-known secret that when Jack and Al encountered unexpected problems, they always got them resolved, even if Jack or Al had to throw in a little money to make it happen. Led by gracious, loving, and generous leaders, the Leipson family, the Cinders, the Niznicks, Michael and Patty Jacobs, the Sandler family, the Glazer family, the Burdor family, the Zicklin family, and so many others. we found the resources in the late 1980s to expand VBS and build a wonderful physical foundation for our spiritual dreams, a place to grow our dreams. When I took over as president of Valley Beth Shalom, I sat down with the great visionary and leader at VBS, my friend, Jeff Levine, a former president who, despite the skepticism of so many, kept pressing forward with a grand plan to lead the process of transforming our synagogue into the 21st century. Jeff knew that we would need new spaces for a new generation. He adamantly refused to let go of the vision of transforming our synagogue space for the next century. 10 years later, he has continued, and he has refused to give up his vision. In Jeff's first address to the congregation in 2005, he talked about a building project. He argued for a building campaign and a collective process envisioning a new synagogue for a new generation. He said, "I ask you to dream with me of a facility that meets our needs and allows Rabbi Feinstein to pursue his vision for our synagogue community. Dream with me in the way the founders of VBS dreamt 50 years ago. Dream with me of creating worship spaces and learning centers that will house and enhance the spirituality, excitement, and enlightenment that we have created. Dream with me so that 20 years from now, our children and our grandchildren will look back with pride on what we have accomplished and will themselves be able to dream their own Jewish dreams." And so it has been for 10 years. Dreaming, working, reaching to make those dreams happen. Through multiple presidencies, our leadership has pursued those dreams. We drafted an expansive plan, pushed it through the city agencies in 2010 and 11, and worked with our architects to see this to realization. We need a community center gymnasium. Our day schools need a place to play and to grow. Where some schools have basketball courts, we have only asphalt. Our temporary basketball court is in the middle of Malcolm Burdorf Hall, which makes weddings and bar mitzvah parties a challenge unless you like your volleyballs on the chuppah. We need a new worship space for our high holiday family service, which now welcomes more than 900 people, big and small, in 2 sessions. We need a place for Monday morning moms yoga, Tuesday afternoon Hebrew school minyan, Wednesday night Israeli dance, Thursday night men's basketball, Friday night musical services, and Shabbos kids minyan. That's because we are one of the very few Jewish communities that can say, we are growing in our needs and we need room. So, to meet those needs, the first thing we are going to build is a combination gymnasium and community center on part of the Ventura lot. We want to thank Irene and Howard Levine for providing the principal funds necessary to build this building. We hope to break ground in 2016. This will happen. Our synagogue needs a new entrance, not one that makes you feel like you are sneaking in the back door, but an entrance that says, "Welcome to one of America's great spiritual centers of learning and community." We need access to the building from the ground floor. We also envision a contemplative garden space in front, so that the experience of coming into our synagogue makes you feel like you're entering a place of prayer and godliness. We want to thank Jack and Rita Cinder for providing the principal funds necessary to make this new entrance happen. We need to redo this Nizhnik sanctuary. Let's admit it. If you've been up here, and many of you have, it's looking a little long in the tooth. We need a worship space that reflects the spirit of our rabbis, the inspiring teaching of our rabbis, the marvelous music of our cantors, and the greatness of this congregation. Our plan will lower the height of the bima close to the congregation so that we can engage in the kind of spirited learning that Rabbi Schulweis led for so many years, and now our rabbis lead among us. We want to thank Jerry and Risa Niznik again for providing a lead gift to help make this sanctuary the sacred place the rabbis need and envision. These are just some of the things we will be talking about more in the coming months. I can promise you this. Just as our founders built this synagogue for us now 50 years ago, what we envision and build will make VBS a place, a home for the next generation. That is our pledge. When Jeff spoke to you 10 years ago, he was unable to ask anything of you because we were still in the process of planning. He concluded his wonderful speech asking all of us to dream with him. Well, today I am proud to tell you that our building campaign is well underway. With the leadership of Rabbi Feinstein, Bart Pacino, the co-chairs of our building campaign, Jeff Levine and Irv Weintraub, I can now announce that we have raised the first $13 million for our building campaign with lead gifts from Irv and Gail Weintraub, Jeff and Alan Levine, Mark and Ellie Liner, Ed and Peggy Robin, Ben and Janice Resnick, Richard and Ellen Sandler, Don and Claire Marks, and their families, along with the Nizniks, Howard and Irene Levine, the Cinders, Norm Levine, Barbara Mack, and others. We have pledged to our donors. Thank you. We're delighted about this. We have pledged to our donors and to you. We will accomplish this construction project without any new additional mandatory building fund assessment. All projected costs will be paid by voluntary donations. We will not commence construction until 100% of the projected cost of each project has been pledged. Simply put, if we don't have the money, we won't build it. We will not incur long-term debt to finance this project. That is our pledge to you. We believe that as we grow the VBS of the 21st century, this building, renovated, expanded, and made so much more beautiful, will be a place you and your families will be proud to celebrate the moments of life, to learn and deepen your connection to the Jewish people, and to call home. Now, the Talmud tells the story of an old man planting a fruit tree. A stranger comes along and mocks him. "Old man, you'll never live to see the fruit of that tree." The old man pointed to an orchard in the distance. "You see those trees? Their food sustains me. Their shade, well, their shade shelters me. I planted none of them. They were planted by my predecessors. As they planted for me, so I must plant for my future." As our founders and leaders built for us, so we must build for those who will come after us, for the generation yet to come, for those who will grow here, learn here, play here, worship here, marry here, raise children here. For them, we must plant and build now. The trees our relatives and friends planted here at VBS stand tall, and we are the ones who enjoy their fruit. We must honor their memory and the work of our forebears. As they built for us, so we must build for those who will come after us. So what do we need from you? Each of you is a builder of our community. We need everyone to participate, to contribute, and to join our dream. Big or small, whatever you can share is deeply appreciated. Whatever you share is your investment in our community's future. Our building campaign has begun. It is time for every member family to share these dreams and to share the responsibility of seeing these dreams into realization. This is our time to build for our children and our grandchildren and for the generations to come. I'm asking you to join our effort. We will be coming to you because together we will build a Valley Beth Shalom community for the generations. And someday, generations from now, they will tell of us as we have told of our founders, they planted for me. And for all I enjoy, all I cherish, all that has nurtured my Jewish soul, I am so grateful for their vision, for their commitment, and for their dreams. It all starts now. Now is our turn. Gemar Tov.